What up? What up? What up? Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Asbrock's Bengals Thoughts, presented to you by Impact Sports Cincinnati. My name is Chris Asbrock, and I am back for the first time in a couple weeks, basically since the Pittsburgh game. Was it 3 weeks ago? I couldn't do one after the Washington game. I was a little bummed out. Obviously, after the loss of Joe Burrow and everything after that, where they dropped that game to the Washington football team 20-9. Came back last week and dropped an absolute heartbreaker to the New York Giants, 19-17, to fall to 2-8-1. And now we go on the road to face the Miami Dolphins and come up and look, I mean, typical Cincinnati. They fall to 2-9-1 after the 19-7 loss to the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium. And it's pure chaos here at my in-laws' house, as you can probably already hear the kids screaming in the background, as I cannot get a quiet spot to record this. So I apologize. This is. I'm not going to get really ticked off here in this one. I want to get, you want to be upset about this. And, once you saw Joe Burrow go down on that hit, I kind of threw everything out the window because, I'm trying to remember if it was after the Tennessee, but I think it was after the Tennessee game. I came back and, in my recap there, I said, the Bengals could easily finish, a 7-2 over the final stretch, I think is what it was. I can't remember, either 7-2 or 6-2 to finish up this, this game, obviously with a healthy Joe. Obviously, we're not going to be seeing that, and it's gotten to the point now to where, you see some things from this team that simply you shake your head. Obviously, there's still a good amount of injuries. No excuse now. The fact that after Joe Burrow goes down, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. You look. First of all, you look at this coaching staff, and obviously he just had reconstructive knee surgery, and obviously expected to make a full recovery. Fantastic. That is awesome. Obviously we wish the best for Joe Burrow. Flat out, the kid's got moxie and love it, and this kid's going to be a leader for this team for years to come. However, it comes down to who is running the show with this team, because you look at it now. If I'm Joe Burrow and his agent, I'm looking at the next. Hell, even after today, or right now, I'm looking at this, and I've got a microscope, looking at everything that goes on in this organization. Because simply put, if this team is not going to, or if this franchise is not going to do anything to make this team any better, if I'm Joe Burrow, I ain't coming back. Flat out wouldn't do it. It's not worth your career. When I say not coming back, you play out your contract, the rest of your contract, and you don't re-sign here. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying sit out, be an ass. I'm not saying that at all. But when it comes down to it, if I'm Joe Burrow and his agent, I'm looking at everything under a microscope with what's going to be going on. Is this the last game that we see Zach Taylor coach, as the head guy here of the Cincinnati Bengals? Is it? I don't know. This is one thing that, you look at last week against the New York Giants. They had 150-something yards total offense. How in the hell does that happen? And you still were in that game and lost 19-17. In a game that you had a chance to win on a field goal, well, on a field goal opportunity had you just advanced a couple yards. How does that happen? It's right now the Cincinnati Bengals are in a crucial stretch for their organization because you look at what is going on right now with this team and what moves have to be made. Flat out have to be made. Now, you look at what went down today, and I'm not going to break down this game because, let's be honest, nobody gives a flying rat's ass about this game right now. So I'm not going to go into it and, kind of, go drive for drive. I'm not going to do that. I won't. I'll kind of briefly, touch over the stats here. Brandon Allen, before he got hurt, was 11 of 19 for 153 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Ryan Finley, man, he came in after Allen got hurt, 6 of 7, 40 yards. He did get interception because why not? That's just that's how we're going to look at it here. Tyler Boyd, he had the one incompletion on the nice trick play there, but Giovanni Bernard, on the ground, Bengals only had 40 yards rushing. Giovanni Bernard, 12 carries, 30 yards. Samaje Perine, 3 for 7, and then Brandon Allen, 2 for 3. Receiving is where it was really the receiving was interesting. Tyler Boyd, 1 reception, 72 yards. That was one he made a house call on. Great play. Boyd breaks it down the sideline. He's gone. Touchdown. That was his only reception. He was targeted 4 times before he was ejected in that game, which I will touch on that here in a little bit. T. Higgins, the dude just continues to ball out. He is a flat-out stud. It's incredible that the Bengals still, you look at everything. They got him in the second round. Boom. That's your guy now moving forward, along with Tyler Boyd and I personally think Auden Tate as well. I think Auden Tate has the potential to be an absolute stud as well. So, there's your guys. Moving forward, Drew Sample targeted 7 times. He hauled in all 7 passes for 49 yards. Alex Erickson, 2 for 17. AJ, Brandon Allen, and Mason Shrek were all targeted once, did not get a reception. Giovanni Bernard targeted twice. He did haul in both of those with negative yardage there, a -1 total. Von Bell recovered a fumble. I was on a Jesse Bates forced fumble there. You look at this team, it's defensively, they did against Tua. Tua was 26 to 39, 296 yards. He did have a touchdown pass. Overall, I think the defense did a relatively good job on this Dolphins team. You look at it, and this is something I would have to go back and. I wasn't really watching this game real intently like I would, in weeks past, just because you simply know exactly what was going to happen. Let's be honest. Even after we took the lead to 7-0, you knew, okay, the other shoe's going to have to, fall somewhere. Where, how are we going to end up losing this game this week? But overall, again, this was. I think Bengals defensively did an admirable job in terms of, so in the way they handled this game. Myles Gaskin, he, on the ground, he rushed for 90 yards on 21 carries. He averaged 4.3 yards. Len Bowden there, he had 1 for 11. Patrick Laird, 3 for 6, and then Tua, 3 for 3. So, overall. Bengals give up 110 yards on the ground, and 296 through the air. Again, the stats are going to look a little worse, I think, defensively here than what we're seeing. But still, it was a bend but don't break mentality on that. I think the Bengals, like I said, I think they did a pretty good job of hanging in there, and they gave this team a chance to win this game. If the offense was even worth a squirt of urine. I mean, I'm gonna try and clean it up here a little bit, not go with what's going through my head right now and cussing like a sailor here. But this team, defensively, I know we've been, ripping on, Lou Anarumo all season, but let's be honest, he hasn't had a full, his full complement of guys that that were brought in, but still, next man up mentality, the mantra, still got to get it done. And again, in this game here, they gave up less than 20 points. In the game against Washington, they gave up 20. Now going into the bye week, 4 of your last 5 games the Bengals have played, they have given up 20 points or less in 4 of those 5 games. The only exception was the Pittsburgh game where they lost 36-10. That's gonna happen. But before, the loss against the Chargers, they gave up 16. They gave up 23, to Philadelphia. It ended up in a tie. That game they never should have given up 23 in that one. Hell, that should have been a win there. Then 20 to the Titans, 20 to Washington, 19 to both the Giants and the Dolphins. In games like that, the defense, like I said, you got to give them props where it's due. Now, granted, they are not. This isn't a situation to where we should be doing, cartwheels up and down, saying, thank you, Lou Anarumo, for a great job you've done. Now, let's be honest, it's not quite at that point. But overall, like I said, defense did a pretty admirable job today. Got the job done in the bend but don't break fashion. However, in times when it did matter, they couldn't get the job done. And I'm talking about the last drive of the half, where, in all seriousness, and this is where I'm gonna kind of get a little flustered here with the ejections of Tyler Boyd and what the heck's his name? I'm drawing a blank there. Xavier Howard, sorry. Struggling there. Boyd and Howard were both ejected after a scuffle on the sidelines, which thought was a little ridiculous that they were ejected. I didn't think it was that egregious. But then also, Tyler Boyd's the only one penalized. How does that happen? That, to me, that's the part I don't understand. And it ended up costing the Bengals 3 points. Hell, if you look at it, it's actually a 10-point swing there because, at that point, it's a 10-0 game. Instead, I'm sorry, it's a 10-3 game. I apologize, because the Dolphins were able to get the ball back and go just 27 yards before they kick a 48-yard field goal to make it to 7-6. That's the kind of stuff there that I don't understand. I don't like, because I don't think that is. I'm not a fan of the way it played out there, because instead of you get the penalty, and see, they said it was an offsetting penalty here, and it was an unnecessary roughness penalty, and then there was unnecessary roughness, and then the 2 penalties which caused the disqualification for Boyd and Howard. That's the part, like I said, I don't understand. I don't get that part, to where why are there 2 guys ejected but only 1 penalty is enforced here? That's what I don't get. If you're going to have the 2 offsetting penalties, the unnecessary roughness call is that the situation where you look and you see, okay, the officials only saw Tyler Boyd. Now, if that's their explanation for it, I get, because then the flag was thrown, they were able to go to replay and find out who threw the punches in terms of that. If that's the case, I'm a hell of a lot more forgiving of it, and I can roll with that a little more. But I still think that that's a little extreme here. And again, towards the end of the game, we saw 5 ejections in this game total, which completely is, I mean, just stunning to me that you're getting that you're seeing what we've seen so far. I am. It's to me this falls on a couple the brawl, so-called brawl, kind of towards the end here, that falls on the discipline factor of Zach Taylor. And even though really his guys weren't doing, they weren't doing anything, that's going to fall, in terms of the blame on why it started. Obviously, Mike Thomas getting in that situation where he ends up lighting up Grant on the the punt return, where he just, smoked him, never gave him a chance to even catch the ball. He just came in flying in there like a bat out of hell and lays him out. Naturally, there's going to be a little bit of animosity there from the Miami Dolphins. But for Brian Flores to come out and do, and come charging towards the Bengals sidelines, that gets all that stuff going. I'm hoping a hefty fine is levied to Brian Flores for that, because that really enticed everybody else. You end up with seeing a Bengals coach knocked on the ground, that kind of stuff. There's no excuse for any of that. And I love Brian Flores. I think he's a great coach. I think, but that's kind of crap that should not be happening. I get you're fired up, but going after, I guess he was going after Zach Taylor, that kind of stuff. No, I highly after. I guess he was going after Zach Taylor, that kind of stuff. No, I highly disagree with. I don't think that should be a part of it at all. I just think that there's better ways to handle that. I get you're ticked off in the heat of the moment. I understand that. But going about it that way, that causes that entire situation to flare up like, we saw. And, that's simply that, should not be happening. Plain and simple. We saw a total of 5 ejections in this game. I saw somebody tweet out, and I can't remember who it was. If I did, I would totally give him credit for it, but it was pretty funny. There was more ejections in this game than the Bengals have in 2 years under Zach Taylor. Now, that's pretty damning right there to see that. Like I said, I quote tweeted it, and I said, as hilarious as this is, that's obviously pretty bad. And who does that fall on? That falls 100% on Zach Taylor and above. Duke Tobin and Katie and Troy. They are the ones they're the ones responsible for this. I'm not putting Mike Brown in this. This isn't a Mike Brown thing. This is Katie and Troy now. This was the move that they wanted along with Duke Tobin. Moves have to be made now. Plain and simple. You cannot go forward now going into the final stretch of 4 games of this season, which seemingly will not end. We've got a Sunday game next week against Andy Dalton and the Dallas Cowboys coming here to Paul Brown Stadium. Then we get the lovely home Monday Night Football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wouldn't even tune in for that. That's going to be an absolute bludgeoning before we go on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens, or the Houston Texans, before coming home to face the Baltimore Ravens on January 3rd to finish up the season. Again, let's be honest. This is not going to go well. If we win a game out of these next 4, I'll be stunned. I will be floored that they win a game here. But let's be honest. We're looking at a 2-13-1 season here. Got to be, you got to keep it real. 2-13-1's realistic, and I think that's what we're going to end up seeing here. And it's really, you look at why. Why is this going to be? Why are we looking at that? Is it negligence? Simple negligence? That very well could. You could say yeah. We wanted, as Bengals fans, we were hell-bent on the Bengals. We wanted them to spend money. They did. They went out and they addressed the defense in free agency. I'm fine with that. I'm thrilled that they did that. The problem I have is the fact that they did not do enough to obviously build up the offensive line. Now, what I'm saying here, that is not, this isn't just groundbreaking material that I'm busting out here. It's just simply not it. No. This is common knowledge. I think with every Bengals fan would have to agree with me on this. They're probably thinking the same thing. And that's, this is something that, we are now, and I wrote an article for the website that you can check out, impactsportscincinnati.wordpress.com, that you can check out. Are we entering, the lost decade era? The Bengals, it was, they're teetering on that era. They are. If you look at the two teams, or the two eras, I should say, right now with what we got, and then that time, a lot of similarities here. But then again, I'm not blaming Mike Brown for this here. I'm not. This is a Duke Tobin thing, and this is a Katie and Troy thing. For bringing in Zach Taylor and not doing enough to get the job done. Is it the fact that Zach Taylor's in over his head? Very well could be. It seems like the guys like playing for Zach. It very well, and that very well could be the case. But also, we see, the stuff that is going down. How does this happen? Plain and simple, how does this happen? That's what we have to, figure out. And it's one thing that, if they, when the time comes, when this team gets back to Cincinnati, and, Zach Taylor gets back into his office at PBS, and, this has to be a thing that I think that you really have to look long and hard at. Is this it for Zach Taylor? Is it it? I think you really have to think long and hard about it, because I'm all for making the move. The question is, who comes in? Is it Darren Simmons? Darren Simmons has been with this organization forever. He's got the respect of a lot of people around the league. Darren Simmons is highly regarded as one of the best special teams coaches in the league, if not the best. You've got him. You've kept the list goes on and on. I'm just kind of saying, but is this the last game that we have seen coached by Zach Taylor here in Cincinnati? Personally, I think it should be. I think that this is the straw that broke the camel's back, plain and simple. You cannot have a performance like this, and you have to sit, and show Joe Burrow that you are at the beginning of doing everything you can to make his job as easy as possible as quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. Because if you don't, Joe Burrow will only be a Cincinnati Bengal for a couple more years, and that's it. And that's it. That's a real situation that we could be looking at a couple years down the road. And if we lose out on Joe Burrow re-signing here because of the negligence of the head coach and front office and the ownership, part of the ownership group, we folks are looking at another lost decade, which could set this franchise back for many, many, many years. Now, I've seen a lot of people say they can't wait for 2026, to come when the stadium leases up and the Bengals move. Folks, I'm telling you right now, that will be devastating to lose an NFL franchise. Plain and safe town. Don't do it. Because God forbid it happens, I'm telling you right now, it will be catastrophic for everything here in this city. In terms of, the financials and everything like that. There is a lot that goes in to having a National Football League franchise in your city. Do not wish for this team to leave. Now, you can wish all you want that changes are made, and that I'm 100% for, because I'm one of the guys that's leading. I'm right there with you on it, because things do have to be done, but the right things have to be done. And you have to first look at, is Zach Taylor your guy to lead this franchise over the next couple years and get them to that next level? If it is, and you truly and thoroughly believe that, and all it takes is getting making a couple moves on the coaching staff and getting guys out, because let's face it, Jim Turner has got to go. Lou Anarumo, I'm fine with him going. If you can bring in the proper guys that can help fortify this team and coaching staff, hot damn, let's do it. Let's make it happen, because there's talent on this team to make some serious strides moving forward over the next couple years. But it comes down to, moves have to be made and things have to be done for that to come to fruition. Plain and simple. So, we sit here and, we look at, week in and week out, and my God, it is so tough to be a Cincinnati sports fan. I'm not just saying a Bengals fan. It sucks being a Bengals fan sometimes. It sucks being a Reds fan sometimes. And my God, it sucked so bad being an FCC fan this past, 2 seasons. There is something I got to figure out exactly what we have to do to have the curse lifted. Is it the curse of Bo that he is levied on this entire city in terms of sports and that curse? My God, it is devastating. Something has to be done for that curse to be lifted. Please, somebody do something to lift this curse, because this is truly, truly painful. But again, with that being said, it is what it is. This is, this has been 2020 in a nutshell for the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, let's be honest. That is, 2020 has been a year that sucked for many people, if not everybody. And, the Bengals are surely they're helping us out here with that and making it, much, much worse for us all. So, I had to take a couple weeks off after, like I said, the Joe Burrow injury. I just was not feeling it. And then you watch last week against the Giants and how that ended, and you're kind of like, oh my God. I mean, there's only, like I said, you can only do so much. And, you kind of, sometimes you just need that mental break. But we'll be back next week. I will be back, and I will, take a look at the Bengals and Cowboys matchup. But, 4 games left in the season, folks. And, again, it's going to be, it's basically going to be a broken record. Same thing's going to be playing over and over again each week that we do this. It's going to be, Brandon Allen or Ryan Finley is going to be under center. Offensive line is going to get torched like they were today. Can't run the ball, can't pass it. Defense is going to, kind of hang in there. But, obviously the team's going to do something to, to make it look, like there's a little bit of, bright lights at the end of the tunnel. However, and that's the one thing I did say in the article that, and I've said it numerous times, I think on Twitter as well, that, you look at, you look down the road and you see light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, if this organization does the right things, that light at the end of the tunnel is not a freight train coming to smoke us back, years back. That's the fear that we have, unless this team can do the right thing as we move forward. So that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I have talked way too long for this Bengals game, but I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts out there again. Whew, man, this has been a tough one, but with that being said, thank you guys as always for tuning in each week. I truly, truly appreciate it. It does mean a lot. I will be back, like I said, next week, so we'll see what happens. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Truly appreciate it. Make sure you check out impactsportscincinnati.wordpress.com. That is impactsportscincinnati.wordpress.com. I will be taking a look at the upcoming UFC cards. Trying to get a podcast pro wrestling podcast. Kirk, if you're listening, let's do it. We've got some stuff we need to catch up on, man. So with that being said, like I said, there's going to be more stuff out there coming down the pipeline. So as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure, you guys continue to do it. It truly does mean a lot. And as always, for your fitness needs, make sure you guys check out fnxfit.com. That is fnxfit.com. And if you would like 15% off of your next purchase, use the promo code BDiesel. That is capital B, capital D, and then IESEL. So BDiesel for 15% off your next purchase. So again, that is fnxfit.com. Use the promo code BDiesel for 15% off your next purchase. It does not apply to subscription items. So that's something obviously to keep in mind. Now, they got fantastic products out there. The Super Greens are amazing. Truly, truly love them. Make sure you check those out. Those are fantastic. Apple cider vinegar gummies they're good. It took me a little bit to get used to, but sometimes I'm not a big vinegary guy, but once I kind of took them, boom, great stuff out there. Like I said, the protein's fantastic as well. So again, make sure you guys check it out, fnxfit.com. Use the promo code BDiesel for 15% off your next purchase. Again, BDiesel, capital B and a capital D in that as well. So thank you guys so much for your support doing this. And wow, well, like I said, as this past week has sucked, next week's more, it's likely to suck as well. So we'll get through it. We'll be back. Hopefully, my God, hopefully things are done to where, hopefully we'll see, some positivity coming down the road here in Cincinnati here. So thank you guys as always, and have yourselves a fantastic rest of your week. And I will be back next week as I will take a look at the Bengals and Cowboys from Paul Brown Stadium. Thank you guys, and take care, everybody.